Smacked him again. Smacked him one more time. Come on, man. This is getting out of hand, bro. We caught 3 back-to-back. Hold on. Those were 77-10s. Make sure y'all, I ain't showing you nothing crazy. 77-10, 77-05. Hold on. Where's the other one? Hold on. 77-10s again. Bro, we went 3 for 3 at the end, bro. It's so crazy because I was telling everybody, we got puts up here, whatever. Boom, we smacked our level, right? This is the main level to watch for. We went over this yesterday, right? I happened to be mid-mentor session with one of my students. And I obviously, like I said, SPX and stuff like that, I don't normally call out in the channel, only because it's too fast, especially like the last 5-10 minutes. Like by the time I come on here, type, do that. So those are the ones you got to just be prepared for. So we was prepared for that. It was actually pretty cool, man. It was a new student. It's his first session today, and he just, I love to see people win. I love to see it. But neither here nor there. Let's get into the game plan, see what happens today, and go over what's going on next. Tomorrow we got NFP, right? So all that good stuff. So first things first, what do we like to do? Zoom out, right? I drew a fib from the bottom to the top, right? Very simple fib. Our 25% rough. We just call it 25%. A 25% pullback would put us at 765. I told y'all yesterday, I won't really look to buy any swings until 763 to 765, right? That zone, which is crazy enough, perfectly right where this fib is. So my game plan, bro, I accidentally swung some puts because I was so hyped. Like I said, it was hyped about the SPX, boom, 200% without the BAM. We've just been catching some bangers, man. I ain't gonna lie, we've been catching some bangers. So I got caught up, and I left. Instead of taking the runners off, I just left everything. I just accidentally left the full position. I'm hoping that this does dump overnight with NFP and stuff like that, so I can not lose the money I just made on those puts, because that would be a waste of a trade. You know what I'm saying? If I just left everything. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's 25% retracement, man. So we should have an initial reaction here. Not to say that we just only go here and blast off. If we do, that would be absolutely beautiful. But, we do have, some pulling back to do. Because for us to have pumped, how much is it? Hold on 1 second. Let's see. For us to have pumped $50, right? $50. And you don't think SPY's going to get at least, at least a $10 drop? I'm not saying, it can't be more. I'm just saying, come on now. We got to have, this is nuts. Even on the other days, right, when we were continuing this up, we still had a decent pullback. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, see, look, pump, decent pullback. We did a pump, and then, well, this was weird. This one was weird because this is all overnight. Same thing with this. Like, it dumped overnight, and then it recovered the next day. So that's what I'm kind of hoping that we do today. You know what I'm saying? Or tomorrow, my fault. I do hope that with data, because like I said, data, we don't really know how it's going to play out, right? So we still have to prepare a game plan for both sides. But I do hope that data kind of brings us down to the bottom of this channel, kind of chill a little bit, maybe even sweep that 7, even if they want to come down to 760, right? Just retest all-time highs. This would be the most perfect spot to be buying, and holding long-term calls from here, right? In this 757 to 760, that would be the most perfect spot to buy. Now, if NFP can get us there tomorrow, right, quickly, I'm not going to, of course, we don't blindly buy anything, because remember, this could be, a huge move, yes, but this can also have a deeper pullback, right? We can afford to come down to the 50% retracement, which would put us at 750. We can come to the golden pocket, right? That golden pocket right there. So anything is possible when it comes to pullbacks. We've seen plenty of times markets will go up, earnings, data, whatever case it may be. We've seen plenty of times where it'll go up, pop, and then just come right back down. So you don't want to jump the gun, and say what could or could not happen, but we're going to have to wait until data tomorrow to kind of see where we open up. So I'll go over the game plan for if we open up lower and if we open up higher. So let's say they go ahead and open us lower. We do open up around here, right? We're going to have to wait for the 30-minute, right? 30-minute candles, all that good stuff. Make sure we actually bottom here, right? Confirm bottom. What does that mean? 30-minute higher highs, higher lows, you know what I'm saying? Like some sort of bullish momentum letting us know, hey, we're good. We're holding this 675 and we're, reclaiming that 236 fib. So if we do hold that, we should get a nice little push back up, 677, right? Under today's low, right? That'd be a nice target if we can reclaim that. Boom, break, retest. This same little zone over here, right? It was a little zone, but we spent all day here. All right, it's pretty nuts. But we can reclaim that, boom, right back up to the 771, right? That'd be simple. Now, if we go lower, like I said, same game rules, same game plan applies, but you would just have to be a lot more careful, right? If we just gapped all the way down here, you gotta be a little careful, right? Because it can, like I said, just be a trap, and then just just liquidity, and it's giving us one of these. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You get one of these, the middle finger. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see when it comes to that. I wouldn't want to see it come that low and still be bullish. Obviously, it's a bull market. Never forget to zoom out, right? Never forget to look at where we are. But you don't really want to come back inside of this little, this range. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to come back in here just because it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Boom, box it off. Let's just give it a little one, right? We'll just give it this zone right here. Now, if we came back in this, I would be looking for what? Remember, consolidation leads to what? Expansion. I would be looking for a breakout, retest, consolidation, whatever the case may be. If it takes days, weeks, months, we don't know how this is all going to play out. So if this were to play out, right, I would look for any kind of bullish momentum we got from here, volume start increasing, reacts extremely well off all-time highs, right? This is where I personally would look to start getting maybe some longer term, right? Maybe because now we've just been playing. There's been no direction, so we've been kind of playing 1, 2 DTs, 0 DT. You know what I'm saying? But if we can actually start to get something going here, and we can just start to push, this would be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a nice little swing. You might be able to hold for a little while, but if not, then we're back inside that range, and under 758, it's just dangerous all over again, and we can rotate. And this all could have just been liquidity. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. So that's the downside to it all. Right now, let's look at if we gap up. Right? If we gap up, it's still going to be a little tricky because we're so high and we didn't test the fib. It's going to be tricky. But if we were to gap up NFP, right? Boom, let's say we gap up. A small gap up, not worried about because we'll still be pretty much in the same zone. So anything that's not above 771, I'm not really going to be too stressed about because it still can roll underneath this, right? Remember, this is our hard level right here, 771. It's that hard level. So 771 reclaims, then what do you have? You have somewhat of an possible inverse head and shoulder. So if we get any dips that can reclaim 771, right? Because remember, in order for us to know if a level is something we should buy or not, we have to come down and retest it, right? If it goes up, well, where do we get in? How do we know to get calls? You don't just chase calls because, boom, you're going to get rug pulled on, right? You don't buy calls at the top. You're going to get pulled. So you have to wait until that, whatever level it is, whatever your level is, and this applies to whatever chart, whatever, ticker you're trading, it doesn't matter. It applies to everything. Wait for that support to hold, and then once it starts to volume rise, we're breaking back above wherever we pop from, then cool, right? Now it looks good. Same thing, vice versa, right? Flip it. Let's say we're going puts, same thing. If you want to know if it's going lower, you have to wait for it to break, wait for it to retest, and then roll down, go lower, right? So same rules apply to the upside to the downside. So if we were to come up here, you would want it to test 771, and maybe even close the gap real quick, right? If you want to be bullish, it has to just hold 771 in general. It has to, absolutely has to. If it doesn't, it's just not a good look. You know what I'm saying? So anything above 771, right? You can get that nice little push back up, but 773 is still kind of in the way a little bit. That Tuesday's high, 773.40. My bad. Yeah, so if you can reclaim that, then of course 775 psychological level, and then of course all-time highs. And if this is a shallow pullback, I definitely would be hesitant about buying it up here, right? Because they can trick us, just create a new high and then kind of roll down. So we'll definitely have to watch the VIX, divergence, all that good stuff. Let's actually check that out right now. Oh yeah, look, this is that candle right here. I'm literally talking to bro. I'm like, hey bro, it's all gonna work out. Want the band, woo. And because we already had made some good money today, so he's like, "Oh, coach, what do I do with the band?" I'm like, shit, I'm gonna take a little cheap lotto. It's cheap. It was like $100 or something like that. Is it? Smacked. So it was actually beautiful to see. But I love SPX end of the day. I love it, man, because it's cheap, right? Trying to trade SPX during the day, if you get chopped, you're cooked, right? If you get flipped on instant candle, you're cooked. But end of day, $100 contracts, it is what it is. You turn $100 into a band, you know what I'm saying? Or shoot, you turn $50 into a $100, right? It doesn't matter the amount of money, as long as you're, it's just good gains, good gains. So VIX is currently down, which is good for the Bulls, but it's approaching that spike zone, right? Remember that zone I kind of talked about? It's getting closer. Anything kind of down here, we do normally have some sort of, right? Whether it lasts or not, right? We have some sort of spikes down here, right? Spike. And we're kind of below that zone. So we came down. So tomorrow morning, like I said, with NFP, all that good stuff. The dollar was pumping today too. So someone's unloading somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So if the dollar can, I got alert right here too. If the dollar can reclaim, get back in that zone, this all might have just been a trap, right? So, and this is what all goes hand in hand with what we're talking about with SPY, right? If all these things line up, we'll know, okay, dang, this probably was a trap, or maybe we just need some more power. Maybe it's not as strong as we think. You know what I'm saying? It might kind of pull the markets back. But overall, remember, we're still bullish, right? Zoom out. We're still up. You know what I'm saying? But this is just a very, very, very quick move. And sometimes when moves go very quick up, sometimes they come down very quick. Or you get stuff like this, right? They do go up, and you barely get any pullback, and then it goes up more, and you barely get any pullback, and it goes up more, right? So either way it goes, you gotta be prepared. You gotta get, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, that's what we signed up for. Uncertainty. It is what it is, part of the game. But you can't let uncertainty stop you from making decisions, stop you from making trades, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's just chop. Now, if we're going sideways or something like what we were doing yesterday, don't trade that, right? You don't trade if there's no direction. Once you get direction, look at this. Let's break this down in a very, very simple candle. And this is the 4-hour chart, all right? Boom, boom, all right? There you go. Bang, consolidation, break support, bang, puts, right? You see how easy how simple it looks when you zoom out, when you're not, looking at this, you know what I'm saying? When you're not looking at this look nuts, right? No music today. We're actually hearing just live Houston downtown background. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, you look at this here, you're like, bro, what am I looking at? Sideways chop all overnight, blah, 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 blah. But you go out, you zoom out, and you're like, oh, okay, I see why we took those puts, right? And they did, they pay a little bit, but the level was already kind of limited to 768. So I mean, from 7.7 is only $2. So you still could take the trade, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, just zoom out, right? The picture starts to become a little clearer once you zoom out, right? The same thing here. If we come down here, we might just pop here and then hold overnight, and then in the morning, right? We don't know, but this is why we make those levels. And because we're at all-time highs, it does make it a little more difficult, but it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? And I saw online from one of the traders I follow, she does like flow and stuff like that. I still don't really know how to read it because I know like flow and all the other things that you can see, they're not always just gonna help you for today. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it'll be like, oh, I seen calls come in for next 2 months out, and it's like, okay, well, is that info gonna help me today? Is it gonna affect my decision making today? You know what I'm saying? So I don't really use flow alone, but in confluence. So according to NVIDIA, right, we did gap, or we did we did kind of hold those levels we were talking about. We do have a gap below, right? So I would love to see, if we're not gonna go higher right now, I would love for us to see some dip into the support, maybe consolidate and then go from up here. But I don't know. I just gotta see a little pullback. Same thing with SPY. Same thing everything else. You never just want to blindly buy a top. You know what I'm saying? Or what possibly looks like a top. We don't know. This could just be a little flag. This thing could tomorrow, right? It could be 240 tomorrow. We don't know. So you always got to put yourself in the best position. And up here, I just didn't want to swing calls, even though she said there was some bullish flow incoming for the 21st, I think she said. And, like I said, it really is personal preference, right? And if you're someone who likes to swing and hold long term, by all means, you can just buy, leaps or whatever. You can kind of be more lenient. But as far as the day traders, take all information you receive, whether it be gamma levels, whether it be flow, whether it be anything, heat maps, you know what I'm saying? Anything you use, make sure it still goes along with your plan, right? You can't just use one thing. Like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm only going to look at this, and that's the only thing I'm going to use to trade. You got to have a little confluence here, got a little confluence here. Okay, well, what does this say? Okay, does this add up? You know what I'm saying? So if it all starts to add up, then it's like, okay, cool. Now I can kind of have better reasonings for why I'm taking these trades, So yeah, just make sure y'all are doing your due diligence no matter what you're using to facilitate that, right? Like I said, we all use something, everybody just a little bit of this, right? The flow comes in handy sometimes. This comes in handy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But you want to use it as a whole. You don't want to just take it like, oh, calls come in, I'm going to buy those calls right now. You know what I'm saying? Unless, of course, it's like something crazy, like, some crazy 0DT coming in, or, we got big news. So, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Okay, cool. You might be able to take that. A little lotto, you know what I'm saying? Something crazy. But still, it's all going to be a uphill battle when you're using really anything, because it's like, if I want to be bullish and I could go look for bullish news, right? I could see a bullish sign and be like, oh, oh, this says you know, and then you get something like this. Because I mean, technically, across the board, you know, we still work bullish. People are still, you know, I'm getting alerts all the time. Oh, such and such is loaded up calls for this and this. You know, that was up here, and we did. But it's like it's okay because we don't know, you know, at what point these people, whoever these whales are making these trades, could go green. You know, so it's like, you know, just be careful, man. Just be careful, and always study your charts. Always make sure you're paying attention to your charts. Always make sure that you're knowing, you know, you're understanding your levels. And this is why you have to, sometimes you gotta get up early, you know, and especially times like now, we're all time highs. We don't have anything to look left at. So we gotta get up, you know, you gotta get up early, you know, go check your levels, see how everything good, you know, cool, boom, okay, this is a real level, perfect. You know, we got a little zone down here, perfect. I didn't just wake up and just make this up, you know, I had to go back and look, all right, where did we bounce from? Because this day all we did was fly, right? So I had to go back and see where was the red candle at, right? We had to have some sort of resistance, boom, where's it at? Right here. You know what I'm saying? So same thing. Where was it at? Boom, right here. That's all we had to go off of. And then of course up here, high, you know, that initial pop. The initial top, and then the close. That's all we kind of had, and we've been using those levels. You know what I'm saying? We've just been using them. So, yeah, man, you just gotta. People always ask like, oh, where do you get your levels from? How do I find levels? You gotta open up these charts. You have to open up your trading view, gang. You have to open it up and be like, you know what? I'm locked in today. You know, I'm gonna spend an hour on these charts, get my levels together, right? That's what people don't see. They just want to see show me the gains, show me the call outs, like just tell me what to do. It's like, even if I just told you what to do, told you what to buy, if you don't know what you're looking at, that's not gonna guarantee you success. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I just pay for call outs. Like, you know, it's cool and all, it can help you, you know, long term if you mind leaps or something like that. But if you're trying to day trade just based off of call outs or what somebody else says, it's not gonna be the best. Because if I'm buying puts, right, let's say I bought puts in this candle here, and then I bought more here, and then I bought more here. If I'm like, all right, yeah, buy some puts, and you don't understand what I'm waiting for, if I'm telling you, hey, break down, retest, you grab more. If you don't understand what I'm looking for, you buy right here. Up here, they're down, right? They're underwater for a little bit. I know what I'm looking for. I know if I'm gonna cut if we get all-time highs, but I know what I'm looking for, breakdown, retest, to come into the zone, right? I've already came up with my game plan because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing visually what it's doing, right? So you have to have some sort of knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna go to a soccer field and just be like, yo, put me in, and I don't know what I'm doing, right? I gotta learn a few moves first. I still might go there, have a little fun, but I don't know how to play soccer, gang. I don't know the rules. I don't know nothing about it. So I wouldn't just put myself in that environment. So same thing with trading, right? You don't just put yourself in this, because this is your real money. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with your actual money network. You know what I'm saying? Every day. So this isn't anything to play with, bro. I come across a lot of people who DM me like, oh, bro, I want to do your mentorship, this, and this. And the whole time it's like they really just want call outs for real. And I'll be, teaching them. But it's like sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time. And that's why I'm kind of selective now about who I choose, because at the end of the day, I'm not wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to listen, definitely not. You got it, big bro. You know what I'm saying? But you still need to do some due diligence on your own, even if you're in Discords, even if you're on Twitter, even if you're live streaming on YouTube, whatever the case may be. Even myself, there's not one person I can just be like, yeah, I'm just take all their word for it. No, you got to trust but verify everything, everybody. Myself, I'll be like, this dude look good, and I'll be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all have that internal battle. We got to reason with ourselves, but we still have to, see what the charts are saying to us. Sometimes people are looking for short scalps, right? My homie bought calls down here. He was out right here. I was buying puts in here. Was he right for the short term? Yeah. Was I right eventually? Yeah, right? So both things can be right, but you still got to have some knowledge, because if someone's telling you calls, someone's telling you puts, and you don't know what you're looking for, you're gonna try to chase either. You're gonna be like, okay, oh, I waited too long, let me get those calls. And then you're gonna be like, oh, damn, I waited, you know what I'm saying? Oh, let me get those put, and now you're cooked both sides. So just be careful, and do your due diligence, man. That's what today's lesson was about. Because like I said, we can't really do much till this NFP comes out, but that was today's lesson, man. Just do your due diligence. Study your charts, Use multiple time frames. Use multiple levels of confluence, Do all of that good stuff, because it's going to help you. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be days where everyone's divided. Some people saying calls, bro saying puts, your homie saying call, you're even saying put, you know what I'm saying? Somebody saying chop, There's going to be those days where it's not very clear, right? That's basically what these whole few months have been. Somebody's saying, oh, we're going to go to all-time high. Somebody's saying we're about to crash. You know what I'm saying? You have all this knowledge coming in from all sides. Some people calling out puts, some people calling out calls down here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of information. So you still have to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, right? and keep it simple, because this is a simple game. It's mostly mental, but all of this is the simple part. The mental part can't help you with, gang. You're going to have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to lose a couple of bands on your long lead. You feel what I'm saying? You have to do that by yourself. I can't really help with that. But I can guarantee you will lose. You know, I can guarantee you that you will have some winners. But you can't let any of it get to your head, right? You got to, each day, you got to wake up daily and be like, I don't care what happened yesterday. I got to be calm. I got to be patient, right? No FOMO. I got to just take each day as a day. Even if you have crazy wins, you still can't let that affect you the next day. Like, oh, I went 4 for 4. Do it again, right? No. You got to be careful, right? Because the market will always humble you. Always. We've all been humble before. Trust. It's still fun to, you know, have fun and stuff like that. But, you know, never get too big for your britches. You know what I'm saying? You pop your shit, do whatever you want. But, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people, you just be like a little too, you know, crazy with it, man. It's so funny, this little side story. I follow this dude on YouTube. This dude, bro, I ain't gonna lie, he be cussing everybody out. He be like, bro, you didn't catch this move, you fucking suck. You should quit trading. I'm like, God, Lee, it's so mean. But you know, he's a high-headed dude. But I rock with him, man. Dude knows his stuff, you know. Shout out my boys over there at Trader Society, man. But you know, yeah, everybody just, you know, we all have our lessons that we have to learn. It's just an individual journey for everybody, you know. So it's not just one man's journey, and it's just not one size fits all, you know. And it's funny because I see a lot of discourse on what's the best methods, what's the best strategies. You find what works for you, gang, use that. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. It don't matter, bro. It don't matter. If you want to be a fib trader, use fibs. If it works for you, if you've back tested it and the charts agree and it works for you consistently, do it. If you want to use circle fibs, you know what I'm saying? Fib circles, using fib circles, gang. If you can formulate a strategy and explain it and show how it works, hey, do it. If it's working, you know, consistently you're testing it, it's working, hey, do what you got to do, man. Some people say, oh, support and resistance traders, blah, blah, blah. I am very much a support resistance trader. I love it. It's simple. You know, you don't have to complicate it. If you want to, you can, but that's just only affecting you. So, moral of the story today, be patient, right? We have our levels. We know what could happen, but we don't know what will happen. So the only thing we can do is prepare for either side. Prepare for the worst, prepare for the best. You know, you always got to have an exit strategy whenever you're taking any trade. But once you're in that trade, once you made that decision, you got to let it play out. You got to let it play out. You know what I'm saying? If up here today, perfect example, I'm like, bruh, are they tripping? I thought I was going to get a little, this one right here, right? So this is where I initially got in right down here, and then I got some more in this candle. But the first, I'm like, oh, that pop was kind of nuts. And you know, everybody in the Discord is like, it's popping, it's going crazy. You know, and we did, like I said, you know, take a little scalp, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, you know, it just shook me up a little bit, but I'm like, all right, still trust the plan. All right, you got to zoom out, go to higher time frames. I'm like, all right. I'm like, oh, perfect, right? Because remember, we don't really care too much about the wicks. Look at the candles. Look at this candle, right? Look at these candle setups. What does this look like? A beautiful little bear flag, right? Strong bearish move down, consolidation chop. Boom, break that support. We're golden, right? I know the wicks seem scary, but I was telling one of my students the other day, wicks, they only matter depending on the area of where they're at, right? If you see a lower wick, if you see something like this at support, this should go up. But if you're at resistance and you see this candle, this is probably going to come down. You know what I'm saying? So the wicks, I'm not saying that they don't matter, because, you know, I know a lot of times I'll be like, wicks don't matter. I don't mean they don't matter in the sense of they can't offer information. Of course they can. Anything you can use is useful. But you can't just only be like, oh, bottom wick, it's going up, right? Because we can see, we can see right here, we had two, bottom wick, but these are just nasty hammer candles at resistance, right? This is the ceiling. So it's like, it's trying, it's not really going, it's trying, you know, but it can't, ceiling. So, you know, be careful, whatever you do, study your charts. Yeah, man, I should have just went live and had this whole rant, but this is the longest video I done had in a while, 24 minutes, this is nuts. Y'all don't hate me for this. You know, all my links in the bio, y'all know where to find me, man. Keep it simple, it's a simple game plan. It's complicated as you make it. You keep it simple, it will be simple. Complicated, it'll be complicated. So, have fun, enjoy it. Don't let it stress you out too much. You know, you had a bad day, go touch grass. You know, I'm speaking to myself as well. And whenever I have a bad day, sometimes I gotta just breathe. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't win every day. I know I feel like we win every day, but you can't win every day. You got to lose at some point. So handling your losers is just as important as handling your winners. So keep God first. Do what you got to do. Lock in, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.